Yeah, man. How's work going and everything? You good?
Yeah, it's great. The guy that I've kind of been shadowing, his wife had a baby on Monday, so
That's awesome.
it's time to get to work and step up. So it's fun for me.
It sounds like fun. Sounds like a good time. I don't know if you can hear Bentley in the background. I know we're live right now, so Bentley, quiet, bro.
Not really. She's good.
But yeah, I'm excited to actually get this thing up and rolling for this draft. So just sharing a couple things real quick, and then we will go ahead and put in the intro music and get kicked off.
Sweet.
You ready?
There she is. Yeah, here.
All right, let's do it. Here we are.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Chase Vernon.
What's going on, guys? Welcome on to yet another episode of Fantasy Intervention. It's just not me tonight. It's just not me. I am joined by Fantasy Intervention's very own Jordan. What's going on, Jordan? How you doing tonight?
What's up, Chase? I'm doing good, man. It's been a while. Good to see you.
Yeah, it has been a while. I mean, we were sitting there and we were doing the Blitz game show, and you ended up getting busy with work. Chef got busy with this child in the way, so we put that on hold for a little bit. It might be back later to the summer, but at least I get to get you on for this episode. We're actually doing a live Scott Fish Bowl mock draft. We're going to figure out exactly where we want these guys to go. We have our lobby full. We have the people waiting, of course. So I'm excited to get this thing started. But real quick before we do, can you let everybody know where to find you, whether that's Twitter or the grocery store, wherever it is?
Yep. Stay away from in the grocery store. Say hello from a distance. That's fine. On Twitter at Santos L Helper at Santos L Helper 83. And you can find what I do on Fantasy Intervention when I do have the time to do it. I look forward to getting back into it in the summer and get you guys ready for the season.
I'm excited, man. This season's going to be fun. The running backs there's a plethora of running backs. There's a plethora of quarterbacks, of course. And then wide receivers, man. There's some sexy wide receivers even going a little bit later in these rounds. So let's go ahead and let's get this thing kicked off. Let's get this thing started. My dog is going crazy. He's tearing my bedspread off my bed. That's good. All right. So let's go ahead and get this thing started, get this thing up on the board, and start this draft out. Now, you actually have the second overall pick. So as soon as we get triple threat picked up, you're going to be up. So as we start this draft, who do you have in mind? What are you thinking for this one?
So I have the second pick in Fishbowl, so that's why I went with this, representing for the 102 Live crew, as we call it. We, and myself, we really like, right here, we like Mahomes, we like Kelsey, and we like the top-end running backs. We've seen some variation in here with guys like, I think I took Kyler in a mock that I ended up with a team that I really like, but our consensus has pretty much been Mahomes or Kelsey, given that it's a tight end premium.
Yeah, I do like it. I mean, I feel like Kelsey's a little bit early here, but I mean, he was one of the top scoring options in this. And, with the tight ends, it's so fickle. So I can understand going for it, but I'm not I still feel like that's a little bit of a reach. But,
exactly.
Mahomes makes sense because he doesn't throw a ton of incompletions. He's very smart. You still get a ton of first downs with the passing offense. They don't run the ball a lot, especially when it comes to third down situations. I like the Mahomes pick. I mean, is there any chance with Josh Allen or any one of those guys?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's really preference. When you're tiering out these guys, they come so similar. I think Mahomes gives you that stable floor that some of these other guys may not. The stability again with Andy Reid, the Chiefs, their level of success, and the way that offense goes. So Mahomes is like pretty much the consensus pick. I like a lot of teams that I've gone here with, but I am going to go a little bit different. That's what we like. I'm going to go with a guy who I personally want out of this draft. Not necessarily our agreement here in our 102 chat, but I like Kyler.
After all that talk, you went Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I do. I really see kind of a pop here. I think I think his ceiling is just something that I'm hoping could be like Michael Vick-esque in that offense. I mean, say what you will about AJ Green, he still has hands. He's still, 6'3.5", and we'll see what happens on the next turn, and then we'll have another talking point.
Yeah, no, that's something that's interesting. I mean, sitting there and looking at it at the attempts from last year, Kyler Murray actually did not attempt a whole lot of passes, and he still had points or 6-7% completion rating. So at 6-7%, I mean that's pretty strong overall. He's going to get a lot with his legs as well. So I actually do like that pick. I think that it's a smart pick, and I think it's going to be interesting. It could definitely end up changing the tides a little bit. It's kind of funny. Last year, this is where I was talking about taking Dak Prescott because everybody was so heavy on Lamar Jackson, and then Patrick Mahomes like number 2. I was like, I mean, a lot of people are going to have Patrick Mahomes at number 2. If you want to get a little bit of a variance in your pick, I think that the smart pick would have been Dak Prescott. Unfortunately, Dak Prescott got injured, and that completely backfired on me. But in all honesty, it's something as to where, I mean, it like if you want to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd, you got to go a little bit different. I think Kyler Murray could be that answer moving forward in 2021. So looking at it, Jack's commission's like he's not even in the chats. That kind of sucks. I got to make sure that we skip him if he ends up doing a couple more. But I mean, at 103, who would you take?
At this point, I think
104. I apologize.
Yeah, 104. I think I would be between either Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara here. You could also, depending who you are, depending who you follow, who you listen to, Jonathan Taylor or Barkley. I think those 4 guys, kind of how we said the first 4 quarterbacks, all kind of give you that stability. Those running backs will give you that floor with the receptions. I'm a Saints guy. I love Kamara. I've had him on my dynasty team pretty much since he was a rookie in some formats. So I'm always on board with him, but love the Dalvin Cook pick. I mean, he just, if he stays healthy, he looks like a guy that, we have not seen kind of a combination of size and skill and speed, being able to catch the ball like he does.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with the QB1, or actually the top scoring player in all of the Scott Fishbowl 5. I'm going Josh Allen at this point. Josh Allen for me is definitely a significant talent as to where, he could give you the separation needed every single week. He's going to get you points, on the ground within the red zone. He's going to get you those first down points as well. I believe it's 0.5 per first down. I'm sitting there and I'm loving Josh Allen's situation. I'm smashing that at 105 if it makes it to me. However, I don't think it would make it to me just because you had the variance with the Kyler Murray pick. I think that Josh Allen probably goes anywhere from 101 to 103. But yeah, like I said, he was above Aaron Rodgers in scoring last year in this format. I love that pick. After me goes Dak Prescott at 106. I like that pick, Pigbird.
All the same reasons, yeah.
If you're in the chat, give us your feedback, by the way, where you think certain players should go. Alvin Kamara goes at 107. Makes me a little bit nervous. I would have probably leaned Saquon, but Saquon's not in a great offense either, so that makes a lot of sense. Either way, you're talking about a top end talent for that top spot. Right after that, we have Lamar Jackson going off the board, who I think is going to be special this year. I mean, I believe he was the top scorer in fantasy points over the last 6 or 8 games of the season. I think it was 6 games of the season last year. The guy, they tried to make him a pocket passer in their first 2 games. And then he started scrambling in the next 2 games. And then they were like, oh, shit, we're going to get him killed. Let's go ahead and get back to design runs again. And he ran the ball a lot more often. He was a lot more efficient with his running. I mean, I think that they could end up going back to that. I know they're trying to make him into a pocket passer or more of a pocket passer. I think they just need to let him run and keep running the offense in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes in life and football, you just got to go with the flow. And the flow of their offense is whatever the defense has been dictating, honestly. They have not had the alpha dog at wide receiver. We hope that they have that now as a fan of not only Lamar, but the Ravens. But we'll see. You know, he's young. Watkins, I mean, who knows? I mean, if there's been a great unknown in fantasy in the past several years, it's Sammy Watkins. Like, guy's baffling. And then there's always Marquise over the top.
It's out there in left field. I mean, we never know what really is going to happen with, of course, Sammy Watkins. You know, he could have 3 good games a year. He could have no good games a year. It just depends. When it comes to Derrick Henry's another, you know, rule breaker. He gets a ton of first downs, right? Like that's what he specializes in. And then he has a ton of breakaway runs as well. So if you're not getting a first down on every run, you're going to be getting a touchdown essentially. You know, I think he's a smart pick right here. Overall from last year, let's see where he finished up. He finished up as the number 11th overall player, and he had a phenomenal year. So might be a little bit highly drafted, but we have certain players that were kind of like outliers to an extent, and also other players that aren't going to be there this upcoming year. You know, Deshaun Watson's a big question mark. Ryan Tannehill was very efficient, but, you know, that's tough to see him repeating his efficiency again, although he does have Julio Jones now, so that's interesting.
Does help.
But I feel like he's going to throw a few more incompletions this year because, man, the Tennessee Titans are going to have to pass. They really are.
Yeah, I don't have the schedule in front of me. That's one thing I need to start getting in front of me more when I do my drafts. But Tennessee, by winning their division, they'll end up playing first place schedule. So that typically doesn't bode well. I haven't seen home games and such. So Tennessee is one of those teams that I just can't wait to watch. Like, see what they do. Just to see what they do. They have so many weapons now. Okay, this is the latest, honestly, I think I've seen Kelsey go in a mock.
Me too, to be honest. It's not even close. Like, Kelsey's been going at like the 106 and most of them are done.
Yeah.
But I don't think that like he has to go there. But if he's there at 112, you're taking him. You're taking him.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the name of the game in fantasy is about team building, right? And where you are in the draft has so much to do with how you structure a team. Whether you start with quarterback, running back, receiver, or tight end, you just build the team which works for you, right? You're going to get a shot at a pool of 4 or 5 guys each pick, and you need to understand which person out of that pool is going to structure you with the team that you want. So what I love is the 3-round reverse in this, and really throw some sauce into the game.
Yeah, Byron just commented. He's like, man, I just had a brain fart. Like, I've never seen him get outside the first 8. He just, you know, Byron drafted at 109. He took Lamar Jackson, which, I mean, honestly, like, that's kind of a toss-up for me at that point. Like, Lamar Jackson, for me, would have gone within the top 7 or 8 as well. So it's kind of a toss-up. Now, Nick Chubb was the interesting part.
An interesting one, yeah.
Because Nick Chubb could actually be a game breaker when it comes to his efficiency and what he can do. I mean, he was hurt last year, and he still finished out as one of the top running backs. The year before that, same sort of thing. Like, Nick Chubb is somebody that could definitely carry this offense, and this offense is going to be overly efficient this year. They're going to have to pass a little bit, but it's not going to be over the top. I think Nick Chubb could see a tremendous workload again.
I hope he does. I mean, he's fun to watch.
And then we had, let's see, like we talked about, Kelsey goes 12, Herbert go at 201. Russell Wilson's actually very interesting because he's actually overly efficient. Last year in the Scott Fish Bowl, which is the same rules for the quarterback, he finished out as the top 7 player. He was QB 6, 7th overall. So for him to sit there and slip to the second round, I mean, like,
these guys on the turn, I think, did really well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Usman does here. But I love the Kelsey and Herbert by Big Canadian on the end there. That's quite
so
an
strong.
edge. Like, he was probably sitting there and just like, no way, Kelsey's gonna fall. Come on.
Dude, yeah, that was insane. Cam Akers, whoa.
Okay, back-to-back running backs. All right.
Now Usman, right? I don't even know how to say his name. If you're in the chat,
Usman.
He ended up going Cam Akers, Derrick Henry combo. I mean, that's a lethal combo, but you're playing a dangerous game. I don't see it too often where there's not a quarterback selected within the first 2 rounds because our rosters are deep this year.
Okay.
And you can find values later on. Like there's 22 players, I believe, total, including starters and bench. So those quarterbacks start to go quick, like real quick. And then you're stuck with, I mean, maybe an Andy Dalton as your second quarterback, which could be replaced by week 1.
The Red Rocket. Excuse me, rifle.
Yeah, the Red Rocket. So we had Darren Waller after that, George Kittle. I was hoping one of those guys would make it to me at 5. I really was. I thought that they would either one would make it. And then it sucks because I wanted Jonathan Taylor right there. Jonathan Taylor came off the board next, and I was like, man, Jonathan Taylor, if he slips me, this is going to be a gold mine.
Oh, if I was in your shoes right now, my pick would be so obvious. It'd be one of those just yes. But
you'd go Zeke, wouldn't you?
Nope.
No, so this is where I have to get smart, and I would normally go running back here. I would never, ever take wide receiver at this point. But the stack with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs is just too sexy for me to
You read my mind. See, you read my mind. Thank you for picking that because that's what my pick would have been.
Yeah, I mean, that's dominating weeks. Whenever you have like a Stephon Diggs week, Josh Allen is still going to perform. And the amount of points you can get from that is just going to be stupid for the Scott Fish Bowl. And when you sit there and you look at like the first downs thrown to Stephon Diggs, you're getting a half a point for Josh Allen. You're getting a half a point for Stephon Diggs. So you're
talking about efficient connections too.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be beautiful.
And he's a Terp. Shout out, good counsel, DC, Maryland. What up?
Yeah, so I'm taking that like all day long.
Yeah, I love the stack. So again, why I went Kyler here is the exact reason that we just kind of got into, and I take Hop for the exact reason. I'm looking for the stack on the back end because that's for the same reasons that you just said with Allen and Diggs. I like that with Murray and Hop. So that was my pick, and that was what I hoped would fall to me there. Tyreek went 2 picks ahead, and then Najee Harris. So I took DeAndre Hopkins. I took him over Adams and Brown. As we see, Adams just come off the board, but I liked Hop's floor throughout. He's been one of my favorite guys since he's been in the league, as far as just the volume that he gets, the routes he runs. Like, there's nothing that he can't do as a wideout. He's amazing to me.
Well, this is what makes it interesting, right? It's like, we had to wait now. Like we're not just like, sitting there and we're not just like getting our value at this point. Like we now have to wait for the running backs to make it back to us. And both of us are in a pretty rough situation as where we're going to have to end up going double running back in most cases, unless there's a player that we just can't say no to. So I'm very interested as to whether, that follows through or not, once that pick makes it to us.
Let me see here. Okay.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Big Canadian's team. And I was a little bit nervous because he wasn't getting a running back up front, but he's got Kelsey, Herbert, and Elliott. That's a sexy spot if Kelsey makes it back.
Seriously.
Even if you got a Waller there or a Kittle at 112 and you still got Herbert. Like that's a sexy landing spot because you could end up going possibly with a Derek Carr later and get your Waller stack. Meanwhile, you have Ezekiel Elliott, who could be, a phenomenal performer. Austin Eckler goes off the board next. So I actually like Austin Eckler in this format slightly more than I like Zeke. I mean, it's the perfect landing spot. Now, I've seen people do this, and I don't understand it. This is like the 3rd time I've seen this, and it's happened at the 110 every time that I've seen it. And it's going Derrick Henry and then Ryan Tannehill. And I really think you're cannibalizing yourself, right?
I mean, if I'm going to do a Tennessee stack, it's Henry and Brown or Tannehill and Brown. I don't hate the roster. It's not guys I would target, but it's not a stack that I would go after by any means. I'd rather stack.
It's the complete opposite of stack. I mean, you have Ryan Tannehill who's passing, Derrick Henry who doesn't catch passes.
They take away from each other on the ground.
They cannibalize each other 100%. So I just don't understand the Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. But I mean, I've seen it multiple times now, so maybe I'm just missing on something. Maybe Derrick Henry's turning into a pass catching back, and I just missed that news. But
then we got Gibson. Okay, I like that. So we got
that's such a sexy spot for Gibson.
Yep. Then Rodgers, Swift.
Byron might have
Brady.
my favorite team so far now after taking that Gibson pick. That's a sexy pick.
Yep.
Pigbird.
Jackson, Waller, and Gibson.
Pigbird doubles up on his quarterbacks. So he's got a stud with Jonathan Taylor. He's got Tom Brady. He's got Dak Prescott. And then we can end up seeing, somebody like Myles Gaskin or somebody along those lines make it back to him as this, second or third running back with a quality wide receiver, somebody like a Chris Godwin or something along those lines who would fit perfectly.
I really like picking up 2 quarterbacks for him since he's in the middle.
Yeah, I like that too. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm looking down this board, and this board is pretty barren. I mean, DeAndre Swift was my running back in that tier. We still have Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones can end up performing. This guy's always ultra efficient.
Yep.
I don't love his situation with Aaron Rodgers not being there, but maybe with Jordan Love, he checks down a lot. I mean, that's what he's been doing in practice, was working on his check down.
Still, that's a hell of a leap and an assumption. Green Bay, for me, one of those teams, if we're doing drafts now, no, I'm not. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. We're built on assumptions. I'm not touching anybody on the team. But Aaron Jones is, one of the best athletes at running back in the NFL when he gets the volume.
J.K. Dobbins was ultra efficient and actually scored on 8 of his 9 red zone carries, or carries inside the 5 last year. And he's going to get touches inside the 5 because Baltimore's going to score. So I'm tempted to go there. However,
Lamar and he cannibalize
each other. He makes it back to me, and yes, like they cannibalize each other. I'm going to go with my top wide receiver, my wide receiver 1 for this year, and I'm going AJ Brown. I would never actually do this normally, but this is what the upside's through the roof with this. I could roll out with like a Myles Gaskin and James Robinson and probably be okay, just because the upside that I could have with the stack of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, and then AJ Brown. Like that's insane.
Yeah, I like it. AJ Brown is a guy for me that I've gone back and forth about. I think last time I did rankings, he was number 1 wide receiver, but been reading more and more kind of about what's going on and the potential impacts of Julio, and I'm not sure I like him as wide receiver 1 anymore.
Yeah, they're definitely going to fight for targets, and he's not going to have the upside that I saw before. But we're talking about one of the biggest decreases in defensive efficiency that we've ever seen. They lost 6 defensive starters, and they were bad last year.
Yeah,
the Titans were bad. They drafted, what was it, Caleb Farley, I believe. Outside of that, they're going to take time. It's like Minnesota. Minnesota was a somewhat dominant defense. They started falling off. They decided to go with a rebuild. Same thing that happened to the Titans. They're going through the rebuild now that Minnesota went through last year. We saw what happened with Minnesota. We saw a very run-heavy offense all of a sudden be able to air the ball out to Justin Jefferson, to Adam Thielen. Even, Dalvin Cook got a lot of work in the passing game, which I think he does. And Matt over here actually asked, does Julio open the game up for him or take targets away? I think that it takes targets away from him, but I don't see the efficiency that A.J. Brown has had decreasing just because Julio comes to town. So I think there's going to be an increase in passing attempts. The volume will end up staying the same. It'll level itself out. Meanwhile, you're going to see the same exact efficiency that we saw from A.J. Brown last year, maybe more. And I think there's going to be a lot more touchdown opportunities for A.J. Brown to have, because you could end up in more shootouts towards the tail end of games. Those added touchdowns are huge when it comes to fantasy players, especially from a week-to-week basis. So I think you're running out of time. You got 30 seconds. Sorry to talk your entire pick.
You're good. I had no idea who I wanted to take there. So I went Ridley.
Wow.
So yeah, between Chase and I's picks, after Brown went Burrow and Aaron Jones, I took Calvin Ridley. Behind me goes Justin Jefferson. I like Ridley here. It was a toss-up between Jefferson and Pitts, who just went off the board. I didn't want to pay for the unknown tight end there. I know Ridley. I've seen Ridley play, so I'm really comfortable with him in that pick at wide receiver to give me a solid wide receiver combo with Hopkins and Ridley. So then on the bounce back, I get a shot at one of my wide receivers, a quarterback, or do I want to reach for a tight end? The top tight end on the board is Andrews, who I like, but I got concerns with him. So this is a tough one. I don't really like these running backs right here between Mixon and Hilaire and Dobbins and Jacobs and Sanders and Montgomery. Like, I'm just like, ugh. So, man, this is a tough one because
you don't like the running backs, and you already picked your wide receivers. This is kind of what happens when you end up going wide receiver heavy early, is you end up getting stuck with some of these like, I don't know if I like this guy, when you end up taking, a quarterback and wide receivers early. But same time,
and there are guys on the running back board who I like. They're just kind of would be like, yo, you're an idiot, bro. Why are you even on here right now? It's like 7 guys down. But
if you can get a running back too, right? Like that ends up making up for the fact that you went wide receiver heavy early. And like I said, I mean, this is not normally something that I do. Like I've never had the opportunity to take Diggs with a stack of Allen at the 105 and then end up with AJ Brown, who's my wide receiver 1 of the season, in the 3rd round of the draft. Yeah. So I'm sitting there looking at it like, man, like there were so many sexy picks. Now I just need to find a running back who's going to be a running back 2 consistently from week to week. And you took my damn guy, and I hate you for it.
I know. And it's because I knew he wouldn't get back to me because of you, regardless. But see, the other thing too that we talked about in my group chat is where your runs would happen. And one thing I'm seeing on our board here is a running back run, more so than we had talked about in our chat with mocks that we had seen. On the turn there, I felt like I was getting, oh God, who did I get? I liked. Shit. I forget. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, it's finding the guys that you like. There.
It kind of goes against what I said about splitting carries with Lamar, but I'm good with it. And I like him more than Josh Jacobs.
I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. And last year I had this decision, right? I took Dak Prescott at the 110. At the 2-3, I ended up having the option of Joe Mixon or Miles Sanders. And we had a 4-hour clock, and I wrote that entire 4-hour clock down until like the last hour because it was like, I need to make sure I got this research right. And I took Miles Sanders. And it wasn't a bad pick, but either way, you got fucked. So I'm going to go ahead and get fucked again this year, and I'm going to go Miles Sanders over all these other running backs currently. I feel like I should go Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but this team is so boom or bust. I feel like Miles Sanders fits right in there with it. Yeah. And if they all hit, then we're talking about a jackpot. This is a championship team possibly.
Yeah, I mean, if Miles Sanders doesn't sum up like, what you kind of just said about Philly in a nutshell, it's amazing. It's just like it's either great or it's on fire. If you've ever dated a girl from the Philly area, they're pretty good looking and they're either, good or, you're on fire. So you're going to live or die with Sanders and some of the Eagles guys. Like, I don't think I've had an Eagles player on my team since Terrell Owens and Brian Westbrook because they've been so inconsistent.
Well, the biggest thing is whenever a player, for the head coach, they coached with Indianapolis. Whenever a player caught fire, right, a running back caught fire, they left that player on the field, and they kept on giving chance after chance until he ended up slowing down. It happened with the pass catching back over there, Nyheim Hines, and then it ended up happening with Jonathan Taylor. Nyheim Hines started falling off. Jonathan Taylor ended up getting hot towards the tail end of the season, and he ran it in for the rest of the year. I feel like that could happen with Miles Sanders this year. If he gets hot, he might not ever have to give that thrown back. And last year, he was one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL.
Yep.
So all he has to do is catch fire and stay on fire. Now, Joe Mixon went right after that, which was a guy that I was kind of weighing. And then we had Michael Thomas, which I think is a great pick there. In the 4th round, you're getting Michael Thomas, who has potential to be the wide receiver 1.
That's who I can also considered instead of Dobbins. Like, we're talking about wide receiver heavy, and it's like shut him in deep. But at that point, there's a back out of that, and I could have backed out and taken Thomas, one of the top wide receivers off the board. Who else was available there? DK, Allen Robinson, one of those guys, which would have been, unmatched as far as wide receiver depth goes early. But I think I really stick myself with guys I don't want at running back, and I'm okay with Dobbins.
Yeah, and then we had, Clyde Edwards-Helaire go after that. Matt Stafford go after that.
Allen, Hawk.
Yeah, and Hawkinson was somebody that I was hoping was going to make it back to me because obviously we're about to We're about to kick back the other way, right? Yeah, 5-1. Okay, that's what it. Yeah, so I was hoping he was going to make it back. I didn't think he would. I have some other tight ends that I'm eyeing at this point, and I was not willing to reach for Hawkinson. I needed a running back. Now, if I got a running back earlier, like let's just say that I chose, Aaron Jones over AJ Brown, or maybe Swift made it to me instead of AJ Brown, I would have gone Hawkinson at that point, and I just would have had one person in each position. I like Hawkinson. I just wasn't willing to pass up a running back and completely punt the position at that point, and then have to end up drafting the whole second half of my roster being running backs.
I also don't like the idea of having that much investment in Detroit's offense. That's an offense that, I don't know.
It's not going to be a good offense, but they're going to have to pass a lot. So I like Hawkinson.
They are, but it's golf.
Tyrell Williams at his value.
I know, but it's golf, and it's not Stafford. Like, people forget. You want to know a night and day difference between the two physical people of quarterback. It's Stafford and Goff comps. Like, I mean, it's incredible.
All right, so we had Mark Andrews go after that. Kirk Cousins going a little bit early, but Kirk Cousins isn't a bad pick necessarily.
Big Canadian has a very interesting roster brewing because he's got 6'12", so he's on a break for a bit until the snake. He's got 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks, and Zeke. That's a really interesting roster so far.
Ooh, I didn't even realize that because he had Kelsey first. I know you got a tight end premium, and tight ends can score above wide receivers in this league because you're getting the tight end premium. Mark Andrews has to stay healthy. That's the key to this. He has to stay healthy in order for this to work out. I still think that was a little bit of a reach to an extent, but hey, if you're going to go 2 tight end, it's a very interesting strategy.
Absolutely. Andrews has to not only stay healthy, but he has to get touchdowns because he doesn't get the volume some of those other guys do that are in front of him.
He doesn't play the snaps.
Yeah, right. You got to be on the field. So, and even when I think he played, I think it was like 60% of the snaps or something like that. I saw flying around in chat, but
he doesn't play all the snaps because he can't stay healthy.
Right.
All right, so let's go ahead. I want to look at Allen Robinson.
Love Allen Robinson.
I did too. Where did he finish up last year, however? Because he finished up as wide receiver 7 last year in Scott Fishbowl scoring. He was getting those first downs. He was getting those receptions. I like Allen Robinson.
He's definitely a move the chains guy.
Yeah, and that could be big time payoff. I mean, what is he the wide receiver off of right now? 1, 2, 3, 4,
12,
5, 6, 7, 8,
10,
9, 10, 11. Yeah, 12, 13 maybe.
All right, TMC. That's my man.
Terry McLaurin went off the board next. That's an interesting build for Byron. He's got Lamar Jackson, Darren Waller, Antonio Gibson, Stafford, McLaurin. Makes sense. And then we had CeeDee Lamb go off the board after that.
Yep, and then Matt Ryan.
So Pigskin is playing a very safe game, right? He's got a safe quarterback in Aaron. Well, I guess Aaron Rodgers isn't safe when you end up bringing it up. But if Aaron Rodgers plays, he's safe. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is safe. He's always going to get some sort of production. Saquon Barkley, if he's healthy, he's safe and has upside. George Kittle, if he's healthy. I guess he's kind of like a match of super fringy players. If they play, then they're going to be safe. But I don't feel like there's enough upside on that roster. How are you feeling about that one?
No. I mean, a lot like you. If it stays healthy and Rodgers plays, I mean, shit, who knows? But Clyde Edwards-Helaire is somebody that I'm meh at. Obviously, I chose Dobbins over him. So I just don't know what I see out of him yet. He got a lot of hype coming out of college because he played on that team, but I don't see it with him yet. So now we're back to you. Okay, we got Julio off of the board. We're back to you. So you've got quarterback, 2 wideouts, and Miles Sanders. What do you like here, Chase?
I'm sitting there, and I'm I think this is too early to take Chris Carson. It's too early to take David Montgomery. Josh Jacobs, I'm really not interested in. It's just too much of a boom or bust factor. He could definitely give you bust weeks. Travis Etienne is entertaining, but you might not make it to the next round of the Scott Fishbowl because he might not play in the first few games, and then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, I really love Kareem Hunt, but this is just too early for Kareem Hunt. Yeah. I'm sitting there and I'm actually
Chubb, right?
I actually do not like this point in the draft, this pick.
Can't trade.
I can't trade. I already have 2 wide receivers. I could try and go wide receiver heavy, right? I could try and get an Amari
Yeah.
Cooper. I could try and get a DJ Moore. I could try and get a Mike Evans.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I mean, you just it's almost best player on the board, like because there are so many flex spots.
There are a lot of flex spots.
This is some of the pros and cons to me overall about these adding more and more flex spots. It's just kind of a throw it at the board and see if it sticks approach. But I'm obviously, this is a pretty typical format now. Yeah, man, I think you take best available.
All right, I'm going Chris Godwin.
I love it. Okay, so Jacobs.
I wrote that one down to literally the wire.
Yeah, I saw that. It was nice. Nicely done. Got to your airtime,
Well, I mean, like, I just don't see, like, the quarterbacks you're getting, very, like, spread out. Like, we're looking at, like, the bottom end people. Like, this is something that, hey, if Chris Godwin hits at a level that he was supposed to hit at last year, except for he dealt with injuries the whole season. I mean, Chris Godwin was built for Tom Brady. Tom Brady was built for Chris Godwin, but Chris Godwin was hurt the entire year last year. So sitting there and looking at it, like, I really think that Chris Godwin has a ton of upside, but he's got to stay healthy, and that offense has to operate. Now, what makes me nervous is the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have a dominant defense again this year. They might not need to pass very often. And you're going to see a lot of Leonard Fournette. You're going to see a lot of Ronald Jones. You're going to see some Keyshawn Vaughn, possibly, question mark, if he could play some special teams.
God.
But I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. Like, I love Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Brown, Sanders, Chris Godwin. I have two players that I'm eyeing at the running back position if it makes it back to me.
Monty.
So we'll see what happens.
I like that pick with Monty. That's kind of who I wanted. Shit. We're in it now. Yeah, I wish I had boots on. Because we're talking about availability. We got Carson. I know he's not injury prone, but I don't know. And we got Gaskin, we got Hunt, we got Robinson, ETN, and Mike Davis. And I got picks on the turn here. That's on running back. So wide out, I'm already heavy on. I got Evans. We talk about injury concerns, Mr. Injury Concerns. He's got questionable. It's freaking June. It's Amari Cooper. We got Moore and Chase. So this is a really interesting spot. I feel like I can take any position that I want, from quarterback to tight end. But this is tough, man. I don't quite know. Like, do I take Noah Fant? Man, who'd you take?
Sorry, I was looking at a different chat. I mean, it just depends. I can't tell you who I'm going to take because I'm right after you.
I know. Not on this one, though. I think I'm between Moore and honestly Chris Carson. I just feel like I got to give him a chance as a starting running back in Seattle.
Is that your pick?
No, it's not. Terps.
After all that. Dude, it's kind of crazy how we have the same exact strategy and it wasn't even intended to be that way. I mean, it's just kind of like how the cards fall in the first 5 picks.
Yeah. I like the Baker pick there for triple threat. It's QB1. I don't necessarily, but
that's a tough pick. I mean,
it
like
is.
Sitting there and looking at like Baker Mayfield's not going to have a lot of volume, but he's going to be safe. He's not going to have a lot of incompletions. Let me see his completion rate from last year.
It's like career high. Like,
yeah, it's only 63%. So, I mean, it's not great, but you still only had 305 incompletions, I guess. So, I mean, he still passed, I guess, a little bit.
All right, so then we got Mayfield and Jones. Holy cow.
Wait, who did he go with?
He went Mayfield Jones back to back.
Oh, no. You got to come defend yourself. Woo.
Okay, so now back to me. Now my
Chris,
pick is
you got to come defend yourself in this chat, man.
My pick is either going to be a tight end. So we're talking Noah Fant or Geo Dirt or running back here. And that's like ETN, splitting carries.
Who you said you're looking at ETN, splitting carries? Who else you talking about?
Carson kind of always hurt. Gaskins there. All right, I'm going to roll the dice on a guy who's a little bit of a reach, but
who you going with?
I'm not sure if he's going to come back. But based on what I saw last year and some of the scoring in this PPR,
I know who you're going with. Yep.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew that's where you're going.
I gambled. I took Mike Davis. I mean, call it a gamble if you want. It's more of an unknown, I think. I'm assuming, making assumptions on what I saw last year, how Carolina was built. But what I liked out of him is if you would have put the name Christian McCaffrey on his point totals and stats last year, you would have been pretty happy with what you got. And looking at the list, I think there's a couple of guys that I could have taken here. But positionally, I think I'm going to wait and get them on the next turn.
So right now I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Kareem Hunt, looking at Travis Etienne, but I think this one's a lock for me. I'm going Chris Carson. I was hoping you weren't going to take him. That's who I would have said you should take the last one. I like your Mike Davis pick, but I think that Chris Carson, he showed his receiving ability last year. You know, he was just crushing it in the receiving game. I think that he could end up being that home run hit again for my team. Now, I feel like the first three picks that I have with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and A.J. Brown were more guaranteed. Meanwhile, Miles Sanders, Chris Godwin, Chris Carson are more like, hey, this has to happen. But I think that all six of my players are potential home runs.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, I think Chris Carson could be an RB1. I think Miles Sanders could easily be an RB1. I think that Chris Godwin could be a wide receiver 1, although a back-end wide receiver 1, just because they have so many weapons now on the defense. Either way, I still feel like I have a lot of home run potential. And then in the first three picks, a huge ceiling is really what I'm looking at here. It's just like Miles Sanders, if he gets on pace and actually gets the carries this year and gets the targets this year. If Chris Carson stays healthy and still puts out the same workload that he put out the previous year, I'm just looking at like so much almost guaranteed potential. And we actually have a guest coming in, Drew.
Hey,
what's going on, Drew?
Guys?
Oh, all sorts of fun stuff, man. Just doing this draft. I got so caught up. He told me that he could come in. He just had to put his kid to bed. And then I completely forgot to send him the invite. So
yeah, no worries.
Sorry about that. But we're in the middle of this draft. How you feeling about it so far?
Well, I will admit I got auto-picked on Nick Chubb. And here's the thing. I don't hate the pick because of the scoring format. But, yeah, I was going Kelsey there. And yeah, I was staring at my phone. The previous guy, I think, was about to time out, and I was staring at it, and then it auto-picked me. So, well, that's all right. I was taking Kelsey, but that's cool. Chubb's all right with the scoring system, and I'm really just in trouble a little bit right now with at quarterback because I kept punting because the guy that I wanted kept going, so I just kept punting on it, and now I'm in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think we all get a little bit greedy when it comes to that, myself included, and that's probably the biggest thing that I'm learning from this mock draft in particular was like I took a lot of potentially like high-end guys, but I'm gonna end up getting screwed at the quarterback position here, later in the draft. So, this is something that's where I'm gonna have to bite my lip and just end up overdrafting a quarterback in order to make sure I don't get screwed. Because Scott Fishbowl, man, if you don't get a decent quarterback at this point that isn't throwing a ton of interceptions, that isn't, just going out there and throwing incompletions, you can end up getting screwed. I mean, there was a game, I think it was Drew Lock. Was it Drew Lock had like negative 40 points last year in a game?
Yeah, and somebody showed one where
Kirk Cousins
minus 25. That's what scares me so much about the guy who took Mayfield and Jones. Yeah. I mean, great. Look at your upside with McCaffrey and Jefferson, and who knows with Adams and unknown with Pitts, but those guys throw picks and turn the ball over. I think the only guy to ever fumble more than Daniel Jones in a season is Kirk Cousins when he was with the Skins. But shit, that's whew.
So Daniel Jones only had one negative week, so that's a good thing. I didn't expect to see that, but he did have like 5 weeks where he put up less than 10 fantasy points,
which is just unacceptable from quarterback.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to find where's Drew Lock at, because Drew Lock had a terrible game. He's not even showing up right now.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to see the results of punting on quarterback, it's Derek Carr in the 7th, everybody, or the 6th.
Don't worry, you're not alone here. Look, Chase and I only have one quarterback too, and so does Iowa. and the
Shit! You
NFL.
took him. That was gonna be my next pick. Was Derek Carr? I was trying not to look at that. I love Derek Carr in the setup. He was like quarterback 13 last year, and I
His
got him in like the
completion
9th
percentage.
round.
Derek Carr is like the dreamboat of the 6th to 8th round grouping.
He only
From what
had
I've seen in our
one,
mocks.
2 games, 3 games of less than 10 fantasy points.
Yeah.
So I mean, like he's never really going to let you down outside of those 3 weeks. Like,
Yep.
and to get him that late, dude, I'll take that every time. And those
Okay,
weeks,
so let
I
me
think,
ask.
were pretty obvious overall.
Yeah.
I love
So
Derek
let's
Carr
see.
right there. That's a good pick.
Any surprises? What do you guys think about some of those picks that went pretty quick in the 6th there? I still like Big Canadians team. I think he's crushing.
Hey, we will say John checked in real quick. He's looking
What's
at
up,
the
John?
109. He's actually about to pick, so he might have hopped off already. But I mean, we were talking about how much we loved your team. We love the Antonio Gibson pick.
Yeah.
Tyreek Lord is a little bit cannibalized a little bit, but it makes sense. As for like upside, especially if it's a high scoring game in the NFC East this year, both Dallas and the Eagles have a porous secondary, so I don't hate it. Cooper Kupp going after that at that pick. I mean, Cooper Kupp has a lot of upside, but it's somewhat limited to an extent. I think that
Coop's
overall
one.
it's a good pick, though.
Yeah.
All right, so at this point, I think he probably would end up going
Yeah,
running
there's
back,
a-
right?
There was a run
Oh,
on
he
wide
went
receivers.
Javonte Williams.
Mhm.
Javonte
Oh,
Williams was a guy I thought about just totally reaching on instead of Davis, but I was like, no, I'm not going to.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh man, I would have taken Miles
Gaskin
Gaskin.
didn't fall back to you. I swore Gaskin was going to fall back to you.
I thought it was too. I thought that's actually where I was aiming. So right now, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, and I got Justin Fields, who has issues picking up the blitz.
Mhm.
It's brutal. I mean, Deshaun Watson, we don't know what's going to happen with him. Trey Lance is probably not going to start, at least for the first part of the year, although there's a chance. Zach Wilson, I'm really scared of the interceptions with him. Sam
Yeah.
Darnold, who knows how they're going to run that offense, but he will have a ton of completions to Christian McCaffrey. The issue is him trying to throw it down the field to DJ Moore. There's a better offensive line in Carolina. I like that, but I can wait if that's the case. I'm going to go with this high upside type team. I mean,
Mhm.
Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, Miles, like if everything breaks right, I'm talking about a championship, right? So I'm going to Sean Watson.
Bold move.
It is bold.
Keep
It is
it in
bold.
your pants, bro.
Yeah, no kidding. But I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it.
Failed.
If he plays, right? If he plays, we're looking at a player who had the highest completion rate or second highest completion rate behind Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he completed 70% of his passes. He only had, 160 incompletions, 162 incompletions. I mean, dude, that's solid. Like, I'll take that every day of the week. Plus, he gets points with his legs. I mean, this is if everything breaks right, once again, that's tough. But if everything breaks right, we could be talking about a championship. Now, John came in and talked about Drew Lock. He had 4 negative games and one of 0.46, and he missed 3 games as well. And I think that's probably weeks 1 through 16. I know because I had him on my team, and I thought Shermer was going to get him out of the pocket and running more often. So I was obviously wrong on that. And I had Dak Prescott. In fact, I had 7 out of my first 8 picks missed more than 6 games last year. It sucked.
Boy.
Well, it brings up the point about the quarterbacks, so that it's better not to flex a quarterback that's just
bad.
that
Yeah,
can't compete with the scoring
Yeah.
system. Just might as well flex a kicker this year.
So DL, is it D Leo maybe? D Leo tweets. How early would you pick Rodgers and Watson? I think Rodgers makes me nervous, obviously, and so does Watson. I took Watson in the 7th round. That's still a little bit of reach, but I needed another quarterback. If I had another quarterback, I wouldn't have touched Watson.
Shit.
Wouldn't have
All right,
touched
so we
him.
got Trey Lance. All right, so it's my pick. Let's see. You took Watson, Lockett, then went off the board, then Trey Lance. I'm gonna go with kind of a backdoor stack here with Sam Darnold. Throwing to DJ Moore. I don't hate it. I'm gonna say that they get him done with the turnovers. It's a risk, but the options are thin. Their quarterback.
John comes in and says, better starting Watson even if he's suspended than starting Locke for a third of his games.
Yeah, totally.
That's actually very accurate. So
That's why we got Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, so Melvin Gordon came off the board. He's going to at least have touches in the beginning. And if you go and pick up like a Mike Boone type person, like I think Melvin Gordon's going to have value no matter what. I think the Broncos ran the ball the fifth most amount of times in the league, and getting him this late is actually a solid pick. Let me scroll down real quick. James Robinson after that. So he took two bell cow backs who both have threats from rookies coming in. It's interesting. I don't hate it, but it's an interesting take, especially after going with two very unsafe picks in Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones. I just feel like this ceiling is so capped. I mean, at triple threat. Christian McCaffrey's great. Devontae Adams, phenomenal. Justin Jefferson, great. But after that, like Kyle Pitts, rookie tight end corollary, our storyline. Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Melvin Gordon, James Robinson. You're up now. Who are you thinking about?
I'm kind of looking at running back again, between running back or tight end. Problem is there's a wide receiver on the board who I'm in love with in all formats. And
that's what you got the flex for.
And honestly, I think that this guy has so much upside that people are still sleeping on, even though he's not even slept on. It's Chase Claypool.
That's impressive.
Fire.
I honestly think he's the best wide receiver on that team, and it's not close. He's big, he's athletic, he's strong, he does everything that the Deebo Samuels and the Brandon Ayuks, these new kind of hybrid guys do. I mean, he's just a monster. They can put him at tight end if they wanted to.
I don't hate it.
But yeah, I think he's got too much upside to flex in there on some of the other positions that I just don't love.
What's up, Husker? Or Husker, if you want to talk to Jacob. We're doing the Scott Fishbowl mock draft. It's pretty intense going out here so far. There's a lot of different variables in the rules, such as like your quarterbacks get -1 point for every incompletion, but they only get a point for a completion. Interceptions -4, right?
I believe so.
It's just all brutal rules.
Sacks as well.
And another -2 if it's a pick six, so it's -6.
Yeah, sacks is another big one. That's one of the dangerous things that I'm playing over there with Watson right now is sacks. So
yeah,
that's dangerous for him.
I mean, how valuable is Daniel Jones in Fishbowl at this point? I mean, I understand he's got some more weapons this year, but gosh, I'd be worried about that.
Iowa going with Ryan Fitzpatrick after taking Trey Lance. I mean, that's a safe pick, I guess, to an extent, but Ryan Fitzpatrick could be just as volatile. Although he did have his highest completion percentage of his career last year. And he was throwing all deep balls. That was the weirdest part. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at who I want to go with. I feel like I should grab another quarterback, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold off. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm not going to do it, or am I? God, it's tempting.
Is it a bad sign that I have just as many wide receivers as the guys on auto draft?
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at another running back at this point because Chris Carson, if he can't stay healthy, Miles Sanders, if he doesn't hit, I need to make sure that I have a good running back at this point. And although I love DJ Chark at the wide receiver position, he's one of my favorite players to draft around this point. I have to go Chase Edmonds or Raheem Mostert. I believe, one of those two guys to make sure that I still have the upside play. I like Mostert and I like Edmonds, but their health is at risk. But Chase Edmonds offers the upside in the receiving game. I'm going Chase Edmonds in hopes that he stays healthy.
Yep, I like that. That's who I would have taken if I would have gone running back. I liked the Tampa Bay guys, but I'm just torn. I don't know who to take between Jones and Fournette. I don't know how that workload's going to look. I don't know how they're going to split carries or how that's going to go.
Yeah, I'm I'm thinking that Chase Edmonds should be at least like the running back one of this offense. I mean, Drew, how are you feeling about that offense? I think that Carson's going to take the first second at work, but essentially when they need big plays in the fourth quarter, it's going to be all Chase Edmonds season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes. I mean, I understand the arguments on both sides, but I don't think they're suddenly going to load up Chase and give him a bunch of touches. He's just going to have the same sort of role. Maybe he gets a few more, but you know what? That was good for a low RB2 last year. So, you know,
yeah, I'm thinking that. Yeah, it's just you're going to see
great flex.
You're going to see Chase Edmonds at halftime, and he's going to have 2 points, and you're going to be pissed off because you have started Chase Edmonds. But by the end of the fourth quarter, he's going to have 15, 16, 17 points unless they're winning, and their schedule is definitely not easy this year. So Husker comes in and says, "Damn, Chase, where's your tight end?" My tight end is still on the board. I have an option of 3 different ones that I absolutely love. I think I actually said it in our group chat today. So hopefully Jordan doesn't snake one of them. I have my tight end set that I like later on. I would love to play or to pick up Hawkinson at that point. I would have loved to end up with Waller if he fell to me. Even Kittle. I love Kittle. If he fell to me at the point I was at, I would love taking him, but I don't want to reach for a tight end, even in a tight end premium league. It just doesn't mean that much to me when I can have a superstar on my team, like a Chris Godwin or whatever the case is.
Yeah, I've typically taken a tight end earlier. They haven't been there for me today, so I haven't overpaid for a tight end even with the premium. I mean, the only guys I'd overpay for are the top 3 off the board, and where they're going in a draft is just almost not feasible for my position unless I, like I said, took Kelsey at 102, which TBD.
It's Matt's first Scott Fishbowl. The one thing that I would advise Matt to do is to make sure that he does a lot of research on the scoring. Like sit there and go through what you think a quarterback could get, what you think couldn't get, and then just do the end of the season stats. Like just literally go through and do the end of the season stats and see how big of a difference incompletions play in, and how big of a difference these interceptions come into play. Like they're massive. They completely separate teams when you're in the Scott Fishbowl for the first time. It's a night and day difference at the quarterback position and the players that you can get.
It's my first one too.
Yeah, they really nerfed the wide receiver position too, unless your guy's catching a lot of first downs. So
like Allen Robinson, who we talked about earlier. Actually, did you end up with Allen Robinson?
I did.
Yeah, we were talking about him right before you came on.
Yeah. Well, I fell on the grenade, everybody. I have Raheem Mostert, so you can all breathe a sigh of relief. He will not be on your team.
Colonel Mustard.
I had to have another running back.
Of course, Usman went with Justin Fields. Trey Sermon is an interesting pick there. That's not a bad one, but now he has 2 rookie running backs. Is the same trend going to follow through in 2021 that we had in 2020?
No.
No. I think it's interesting. Damian Harris is a little bit of sleeper. Is that the 9th round? Yeah, that's okay with me. I prefer to take Damian Harris towards the early 10th round, late 9th round, but 9.5. It's not a bad reach.
Yeah, he's burned me 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Bill Belichick offense. Like it takes 5 years to actually become a relevant option in that offense. Oh man, Gesicki and Logan Thomas, and it's up to me.
Oh man, my tight ends are coming off the board.
Robert Tonyan is interesting there, but there's one player that I need to grab now because I feel like Jordan's going to snake him from me if I don't, because I talk about him all the time, and that's Irv Smith Jr. There are certain wide receivers I would love to take. I would love to take a Juju Smith-Schuster right there and just rack up receptions over and over and over again, especially in short situations because they don't have an offensive line. I would love to do that, but I need to get my tight end before somebody else ends up taking him. I'm going to take Irv Smith Jr. Now, who made that sigh? Was that you?
Yeah.
Yep, that was the guy I knew you're going to probably snake. That's my go-to at the tight end.
I wanted Logan Thomas, but that little micro burst of tight ends there, you guys just threw together, kind of screwed the pooch for me.
That tight end run, it's that 10th or 9th round tight end run. Everybody take note of the 9th round tight end run if you're in the Scott Fishbowl.
Don't be left without
The comment was, can't complain getting the San Francisco starting running back 2 picks after Mostert. I told you, I fell on the grenade. You guys can laugh. It's okay.
I like Mostert. I think Mostert's a bomb that could go off, but it's also a bomb that could go off in a bad way.
It could go.
I mean,
either way.
Go either way. So
it's nitroglycerin.
And then we have, so Husker, I took the tight end, the Irv Smith Jr. tight end. But yeah, so how much do we take schedule into account? Example, like Josh Allen versus Kyler Murray. For these studs, I don't really take it into account too much. We don't know what's going to change. We don't know who can get hurt on the defense. Defenses are much more susceptible to injuries than offenses are if they don't have the right coaching into play. And to sit there and trying to dissect if an injury happens to X player, and this is the backup, will he be able to fit? It's a lot of different moving pieces. There are a bunch of ifs and really don't apply to in season. So I'm sitting there and looking at it as like, I'm just going to take the best player, the player that I believe in the most when it comes to the scheduling. Now, if a team had to start out against, like, the Rams, the Ravens, for example, in Tampa Bay over the first 3 games, I might end up switching over to a team that got to play, Seattle, Carolina, and whoever else at that position, maybe Dallas or whatever. But I'm sitting there and looking at the best player available at this point. So you're up. You took Rob Gronkowski as your tight end. Prior to that, you doubled up and went Higbee.
Yep.
Interesting.
Stafford likes his tight end.
Yes, he does.
And Brady loves Gronkowski.
Adam Troutman was the other guy that I always have my eye on. So it's Irv Smith Jr. And then Adam Troutman, I've actually been able to get several rounds later. So I'm glad that I took Irv Smith Jr. when I did, because then I would have had all of my tight ends off the board. Every single one of them would have been off the board. So I'm glad that I did it when I did.
That's why I went back to back too, because it's just like, I think, we called the little ninth, 10th round tight end run here.
Yeah, so seriously, if you're playing a Scott Fishbowl, take notes. You should take your tight end. If you really like one around 8, late 8th round, you can wait until the early 8th round. But like the way that it lines up, it's not going to swap. So yeah, I would go. Yep, I would go that route. All right, so.
And for some godforsaken reason, you can flex kickers in. So the no kickers have been taken yet.
Yeah, I haven't really evaluated the kickers fully. I still have yet to do that, so I need to start on that. All right, so I'm interested in the downfield threat that Will Fuller's possibly involved in. Michael Carter, Kenny Drake are kind of interesting at this point. I feel like I'm cannibalizing my touches if I take James Conner. I need somebody with a safe floor because I do have so much risk going on. And if one of my players or 2 of my players ends up getting hurt, I need to be safe. And honestly, I feel like everybody here is just so volatile. Brandon Cooks makes sense with a stack. Oh, man, this is a tough one. I know Deebo Samuel hasn't been able to stay healthy, but I think I have to go Deebo because he's just so dynamic at the position, and he should end up racking up a bunch of first downs in this offense, especially with Trey Lance at the helm when they can't end up doing the middle linebacker. I'm going Deebo.
Not concerned about Ayuk at all? No.
Ayuk's a different player than Deebo. Deebo is going to be, more of a gadget type player, but he also has a safe floor because he's going to see, 5-6 touches game minimum.
Yep.
So Will Fuller goes next. I liked Will Fuller. I really liked the Laviska. That was the one that I almost took over him. And Brandon Cooks was up in there for me too, but only because I have Deshaun Watson. That's the only reason why I would take Brandon Cooks there is because I have Deshaun Watson. The stack is just sexy.
Sure.
Let's see. So right now, I think the majority of my roster is pretty much filled out, and I'm in flex area. I'm in bench area after this, unless I decide to take a kicker. Now, we would actually have another flex available. However, they don't have a kicker flex option for this. So you also are looking at this actually being your last flex spot. So you can take a kicker. You can take a flex guy. The super flex might already be taken for you.
It is. And then, so is it just a regular flex?
It's a flex / kicker flex.
Okay, wide receiver, tight end, or kicker.
Yep.
Running back. Okay, got it.
Which is the first year that's happened.
Boy, I guess I need a wide receiver, huh, boys? It's looking thin for me.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the time to take him. There's so much value still on the board.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of like hit or miss. I probably would have tried to grab one in the last round over Big Ben.
Let's see, wide out.
Yeah, I tried to play
Jarvis Landry is like Mr. First Down.
Tried to play it like I would have to play it out. I wouldn't be comfortable with Carr as a 2 without anybody as a 3, but I knew I was punting on wide receiver, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Boyd's going to score, get some first downs, and be a good scorer in this format.
Yeah, at least you're talking about the third flex position. I mean, he should actually be putting up 10 points a game for you on average, if I had to say.
Feels like I'm reaching to go wide receiver again here, but if I don't, it's a long time before I pick again. Yeah.
So Matt's sitting over here. Matt's looking at Travis Kelce, Justin Herbert, Ezekiel Elliott, Mark Andrews, Kirk Cousins, Travis Etienne. I mean, this is a pretty good-looking team so far. Then he goes 3 wide receivers in a row, which all have tremendous upside. Robbie Anderson, I think, is pretty safe overall. He's drafted at 10-12. I would probably go another wide receiver for him at this point, but I wouldn't.
I think so too. Just to cover.
Hate if he took a running back, maybe? Like, would you hate if he took maybe Michael Carter?
No, I think that'd be a fine pick. Especially what we're hearing with Carter. Like, I mean, he could be a day one starter.
He could be. He ends up going with Michael Pittman, so I don't hate that. I think that he definitely needed some more stability at wide receiver. Is that your pick?
Yes. He's done that to me several times. That's all right. He's doing well, and then he went with Carter.
Wait, how did that happen?
Pittman, Carter.
Yeah, the turn.
Oh, there you go. I wonder if he was listening to us. I've seen him pop in here from time to time. He also, his little green dot disappeared for a second, so he probably wanted to hear what we had to say about it and then pop back in.
All right, my backup plan.
What'd you go with?
Antonio Brown.
I like Antonio Brown for this format, man. Like, he should tear it up this year. Did he have a touchdown in like every game but one or something?
Yeah.
Like,
he's a monster. He's Antonio Brown.
This is why I like going wide receiver.
Terrible neighbor, but one hell of a football player.
I hope that Swift lands to me and I don't take Stephon Diggs. Or I don't take AJ Brown. Because I want to go wide receiver late. That's what I want to do. But when value falls to you, like the stack of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen and then AJ Brown, like you can't pass that up. You can't.
Yeah, I think I would go Swift instead of Swift or Gibson instead. Honestly, Swift, Gibson, or Zeke. Any of the third round running backs, I think I would swap out for Kaplan Ridley.
He said he made the pick just before we mentioned Carr.
Nice.
Or Carter. Sorry, I said Carr. Carter. All right, yeah. So Devontae Parker, who's in an interesting situation this year. I don't really know what's happening with that, but he still should see some targets and some first down opportunities. Then Jalen Waddle comes off the board. Up next, we got
Evan Ingram,
who goes with Jared Goff.
I've been wondering when Goff was going to go. He's
John
really the last of the unquestioned starters here that we're looking at.
Well, I'm up on the board now, and there's one player that I really, really like that's still up here. However, I feel like I can't go with him. Meanwhile, when I sit there and I look at Cam Newton and his ability to run the ball, I know it's sketchy, but they signed him for another year to be a starter. Mm-hmm. And let me look at his completion percentage. I know it wasn't great, but he also didn't pass a lot. He only had 146 incompletions, and he was on pace to break the rushing record for quarterbacks. He makes a lot of sense here. I just don't know if I can pull the trigger on that. Meanwhile, Jameis Winston, you don't know if he's going to be the starter. Jimmy Garoppolo, he might not be the starter. Man, I feel like I
take Taysom Hill in this format, but same thing. I don't know if he's going to be the starter.
Ooh, I like Jameis Winston. I don't think they're going to allow him to throw interceptions, but is he going to see opportunities in the red zone? I don't know. Oh, man, this one's tough. So I'm going to go with the player I actually really wanted to go with. Make sure there's nobody else up on the board that I need to keep an eye on. I'm going to go with A.J. Dillon and hope that he actually forms a role as the first down, maybe second down back goal line role. Maybe take some games over. They don't want to give Aaron Jones the full workload. They never have.
Mhm.
Like, we were sitting there and he's been healthy on the sidelines. And we're like, what are they doing? Why are they playing Jamal Williams? It's because they don't want to give Aaron Jones a full workload. This is a year where they're going to be like, hey, we need to prove that we didn't fuck up by taking A.J. Dillon. There's too much controversy going on. And if Aaron Rodgers does not return, you better believe that A.J. Dillon would have a much larger role in this offense. I think A.J. Dillon could end up being a steal as well. But there's a lot more risk with that one. Very similar to like Chase Edmonds. Like, I'm not as nervous about Deebo Samuel. I'm not as nervous about Irv Smith. I'm not as nervous about who is above Watson. Chris Carson. I'm not. Chris Godwin, I'm not as nervous about. But Watson makes me nervous. Chase Edmonds makes me nervous. A.J. Dillon definitely makes me nervous. So I feel like I could have gone safer there, but it just makes sense with where I'm sitting at. You went Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake for me.
They didn't pay him $11 million for nothing.
Right. I think it's a great option this late, and as a potential, kicker flex. I like that a lot.
So
I'd like to say that the number 4, who's auto picking, deserves that David Johnson in the end of the 11th.
Yes, he does. Especially when you sign up to be on a live show and then you just don't show up. You just mail it in. It's like, what the?
So you get David Johnson. Here you go.
Maybe it's the real Jacksonville commissioner.
It's very possible that it is.
Maybe that's like a Jacksonville, real front office person.
So Cole Kmet went, then Jameis Winston. So this guy pretty much is going all or nothing on the quarterbacks. He has Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, and Jameis Winston. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. That pays off for him.
That is wow.
Hey, that could end up being, you could mail in a championship with that if they all hit. It's something that you learn though, and like you kind of figure it out as you go. I mean, yeah. So you're up on the turn, Jordan. How you feeling about the 12-2?
Honestly, I think I'm going to go tight end here.
Again?
Yeah, I think so. I think
you're pulling a triple threat, but instead of a quarterback, you're doing it at tight end.
Yeah.
It's a lot less volatile.
Yeah, and I mean the other guy that I was thinking about is Cam Newton, Taysom Hill. I think I'm set at wide out. I mean, although for this format with first down, shit. Just talked myself into taking another wide receiver.
I like hearing the thought process, though. I like hearing that you're tortured just like the rest of us.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go with the first down upside.
Jarvis Landry, huh? He had a terrible year last year, but I get it.
I don't need to play him, but when he plays, he gets first down receptions. That's all he does.
So you got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Calvin Ridley, you got DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, and then Jarvis Landry as your backup flex option who could just fit in the right matchups. After that, we saw Bateman go, Corey Davis go. Good for him. Good for Corey Davis. I feel like I have to go quarterback at this point, or else I'm going to end up, bending over. Like it's just like, where do I go from here? There's no backups. I don't want to end up like I did last year, where my third quarterback is Drew Lock. Cam Newton at least offers some upside. Let me look at the reports from Cam Newton from last year. Cam Newton finished up as quarterback 21. Oh, he's a system. He's a year in the system, right? Yeah, I think
Whatever it's going to take to get you in this Cam Newton today.
I'm going Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I don't think Mac Jones is going to take over for a year. I think that they're going to give it to Cam Newton unless Cam Newton just comes out and plays horribly.
I think you kind of have to do that with your situation.
And it'd be interesting to see if Mac Jones even gets drafted, right? Like, who's going to take Mac Jones in this format?
Maybe you will.
Jacksonville commissioner.
Jacksonville. Oh, yeah, because he'll end up in the queue. Damn it. I was also thinking about Gus Edwards. That was a possibility that I was going to draft. I still think he has a relevant role in this offense, but I already have A.J. Dillon. I don't need two guys that are going to get me 10 points a game, unless it's an emergency or an injury happens. I don't want to rely on that for two of my running backs. Nyheim Hines was interesting. So is Devin Singletary, who still could beat out Zach Moss. Question mark, but Zach Moss is still on the board as well. Yeah. I just don't like Zach Moss. Is there anybody else that is in this range for y'all?
Boy, it's getting thin. Some of these guys that I'm looking at, they're really like, even if you look at a guy that quote unquote has a role, like what are you really looking for from him? McKissick, Singletary, these guys. I'm really passing on a lot of these guys. Gus Edwards is one of the ones I do like here, though.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few. So it's Pigbird, right? Up on the clock?
Yeah.
Pigbird goes with Mike Williams. And the legend still lives.
Yeah, he does.
So that's actually Pigbird's fourth wide receiver. So if anything happens with his wide receiver core, he has an old Julio Jones who couldn't stay healthy last year. Robert Woods with the new quarterback, although I do think that Robert Woods will succeed for the Rams. Yeah. Will Fuller, who can't stay on the field. And then Mike Williams, who, is about as volatile as they get. He had the 1 year with 10 touchdown receptions. Outside of that, hasn't really done anything. So I like his running backs to an extent. I think that he made a little bit of a mistake going with Ronald Jones over Galladay, over Sutton, over T. Higgins, over Chark. Just because, you need that third wide receiver to lock in for you. And then you can play with the flex. He has two flex options prioritized over his third wide receiver position.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who are you looking up? Or who are you looking at, Drew?
Well, it's a little bit odd here because I do like Gus Edwards, but I think that I'm going to do something a little bit off the path here. I think Jamal Williams is going to get plenty of time there, and I think that he might be the guy that they ask to pound it in when they get close. And so,
damn, did I miss him? Where is he sitting at? Oh, he is way down the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Williams here just because I definitely need another running back with Mostert's uncertainty.
Wait, where is Williams at?
He is now on my team, sir.
Oh, man, where was his ADP?
It was pretty low. He was down below, like right around the Lindsey, Darrell Henderson territory.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that pick a lot. I really do. I think that Jamal Williams kind of slipped through, and I'm actually going to make a note to not forget about Jamal Williams.
Goodness, this guy just keeps doing it to me. I thought about either Edwards or Gage, and here we are. I want to meet this man who keeps doing it to me here.
He wants to meet you.
Oh,
is that gosh. Matt? That's Matt, right? Yeah, Matt Farrell.
All right, I'm going to make a bit of an.
Mike Miller said flex is a starting position. And I agree with you. It is a starting position. However, when you actually have an option of who you can play at that starting position, it makes it a lot less volatile because you can actually pick your matchups, whether it's a wide receiver, tight end, or running back. So, yes, it is, but you can pick 3 different positions instead of just one. You're not limited.
So rather than taking some wide receiver way down the board, I just went ahead and dropped my third wide tight end there with Jarwin.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
I like that pick.
The wide receivers are very similar right now. I still only got 3, though. I'm in trouble if I had to play this thing out. I'd be working that wire pretty hard.
Oh, yeah, every week. Every week. You're picking up the next hottest thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to run out of fab in like.
But who will it be?
I run out of fab in about 14 seconds in every league I'm in, so that'll be me.
Come up to Canada.
I'm always amazed at the people who emerge from the waiver wire to like carry rosters that you could look back at the draft and you're like, how much trash would I have to have sorted through to get to this person?
It's ridiculous. Every year there's a player like that. So, hey, Matt, are you coming up? Are you coming down for the expo in Canton? Let us know in the chat. All right, so we had Philip Lindsay. We had Naeem Hines come off the board. I think that's about accurate. I don't like either one of those players really, but Darnell Mooney's a little bit of a hidden gem over there, especially if you can stack him with Justin Fields. Where's Justin Fields at? Here, where did he go?
In the 9th.
Where'd he go?
9th. 9-3.
I see it. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's something. Instead of taking Singletary, I probably would have taken Darnell Mooney right around there and gotten the stack with Justin Fields. That's just me personally. So I'm sitting here, and I feel like I should just keep on piling on the guys that I like at this point. I'm looking at a handful of wide receivers, but there's only one running back that I really believe is going to have a high-end upside with a decent floor, and it's not J.D. McKissick, because I think that Antonio Gibson's actually going to take that role away from on third downs. I'm going Kenny Gainwell, who has a tough division, but overall has a very easy matchup. Damn it, he took Rondale Moore. That was my next guy. How did an auto pick take my guy when that was like the 10th guy down the board?
Must be it's hacked. It's listening.
It's hacked, man. This is sore shit.
Okay.
I asked for salmon.
Pollard. Okay, so it's back to me. My instincts are saying wide receiver, but that's not the answer.
The Expo, I believe, is in early August, right?
15th.
August 15th.
The week, 14th, 15th.
It's actually talking to Third and Short about splitting a hotel room or something.
You're going, Chase?
Yeah, I think so.
Right on. Jordan, you going?
No, I don't think so. I've got some other travel that I have to do.
Jordan, we should just swing through, pick you up, and you're coming. So it's already done. That's a done deal. Locking in.
Yeah, send the jet.
It's going to be so much fun.
I think we have like a 83 Honda, so it's a 2-door.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never heard of that kind of jet before. Let's see. So I'm going to take a stab at something here, given it's tight end premium. It's kind of an unknown, but this offense has shown to throw to the position in the past. So got my starters filled. This is just kind of a guy that I've tried to target in Dynasty and redraft in later rounds. And that's Frymouth, the rookie with Pittsburgh.
Interesting. You should see some volume, but Eric Ebron's still there, and Eric Ebron has great hands. So
he's old.
I'm totally kidding about Eric Ebron having great hands.
You ruined my Big Ben Frymouth stack.
Big Frymouth.
So I'm sitting here looking at Triple Threat's roster, and he has no stacks involved. That's going to limit his upside tremendously. I don't think that the Chuba Hubbard pick was bad because he does have CMC, so he handcuffs it. Although you do limit your upside if CMC does stay healthy. I still think that CMC's role's reduced, but I just don't know when you'll feel comfortable starting Hubbard. However, it is a good handcuff, and now his first overall pick won't be ruined if he gets hurt. Henry Ruggs goes up next. Henry Ruggs is somebody that I was actually going to target because I think he could break out this year, so I thought that was a great pick. I thought that you would have actually considered him, Drew, on the last one after your Derek Carr pick.
I thought about it, but I'm just not sure who is going to emerge there.
Yeah.
I still think John Brown's interesting. People are talking about Edwards. I don't know. Like I'm the first to admit in these situations, I just really don't know. So I usually punt.
Okay. Now Henderson got picked at the 14-2. Does he have a role, even with Cam Akers being there, getting selected in the the second round? 2-3.
We'll find out. Good. Nothing more. He's a backup. Akers gets hurt. He's been able to produce in the past. I don't ever plan on putting him on a starting role in my roster, but he might be somebody I'd drop another player for.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to ride Akers for 375 touches, so he'll have a role. But I feel like he's being ignored as one of the high end handcuffs. People are more excited about other guys, but Henderson should be right in that conversation.
Yeah, it's tough.
This is the point in the draft. This is that point in the draft where I start gravitating towards like waiting to draft my receivers because this is where you have like your guys, like these are your receivers that you were believing in the late second round, early third rounds.
Mhm.
And I feel like right now, and I wasn't going to do this up until Drew brought it up, actually. I was not going to do this, but I can still draw. We're in the 14th round, right? We're talking about our third, fourth bench spot. If I draft Mac Jones, I'm safe. Like, I have a starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. They revamped their offense. They're going to run a lot. He's going to offer me a safe floor. Not so great of an upside, but it could still happen. I know that Belichick does not like rookie quarterbacks. If I go with Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill could give me all the upside in the world, but I feel like I already have that with like Deshaun Watson and with half my roster. Mac Jones is a safe pick, and I just think that this is the right to go with starting out.
Yeah.
With this roster, like, I solidify a 12th and a 14th pick, like whatever, like it's done. And now I don't have to freak out if Cam Newton's not the starter and try and, spend the rest of my fab on a backup quarterback, especially if Deshaun Watson doesn't take it or doesn't make the roster. So now it's less volatile. My roster feels a lot more safe than what I did going into the 14th round. I was not going to take that, Drew, but you just had me take Matt Jones.
Well, I don't. I'm one of those people who I understand the argument against taking your own cuffs, but I feel like in a tournament like this where the competition's super fierce, you got really strong people in your leagues playing the wire. You're just, you just have to. Otherwise, like last year I had McCaffrey and I made sure I had Davis, and man, I was so happy that I did that. So I get the argument against it, but in this format, I like, having Newton and Jones.
So yeah. I took Dak Prescott last year with the 110, right? And Dak Prescott got hurt. I went to go to the waiver wire, and you know who was not on there?
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton was not on waivers. He got drafted that year in the last round. I was like, what? Like, how is the backup quarterback for a first-round pick not there? That's what these people do, and that's how they leverage against teams, and they pretty much eliminate teams by doing this. And these are the type of tournaments where these players, they compete in high-end tournaments. And when you spend your first couple picks on a guy, you better believe in the last round, they're taking the handcuff to Josh Allen. They're taking the handcuff to Kyler Murray. They're taking the handcuff to Lamar Jackson. They're doing that to kick you out of being able to make the playoffs, right? Because if they get hurt, all of a sudden they have one less competitor. Because in a league like this where your quarterback variance is so much, if you take a quarterback in the first round, most of the time you're not taking a quarterback until the 4th, 5th, 6th round. That quarterback is not going to be able to start and make you or help you win the playoffs. Drew, where are you thinking on this one? You got the 14-11.
This is the part in the draft where I start fighting myself. I think I got to go wide receiver because I'm just so thin, and I hate when I have to draft for need, but I think that's where I'm at. So I'm looking at a couple guys in this territory. Ordinarily, I'd be smashing Cole Beasley here, but that ain't happening. So I think we're going to just go with the safe, boring, little, to give me a little stability at the position.
Okay.
With Hilton.
I could see it, and I mean, dude, like that quarterback play was so poor last year; they just couldn't deliver it to him. He didn't look healthy except for a few games.
He came on the second half, and I think he finished wide receiver 17. Somebody was posting today over the last maybe 6-7 weeks of the season. He
started to come on. So Mecole Hardman right after you is interesting because they came out and they talked about how he was actually going to be, or how the Chiefs are going to use more 2 tight end sets because Mecole Hardman was not showing what he needed to show. It's unfortunate because I'm a Mecole Hardman fan. But yeah, and then he ends up going with Alexander Madison. That could be a very high upside type pick because the owner or the person who rostered Dalvin Cook was the auto pick at 1-4. So if Dalvin Cook doesn't get injured, which he's known to do, all of a sudden you have a starting running back for one of the most run heavy teams with the 15th pick, and you also prevent your league mates from getting their handcuff. Now you're back on the clock. Do you like this position? Do you like drafting?
I do. I've actually had better luck this offseason picking on one of the ends. because I felt like when the couple drafts I did in the middle, I was getting caught on the runs and getting left out.
You got to start the runs if you're on the corners. If you're on the
Yeah,
corners, you have to start
yeah.
the runs to prevent that from
Definitely.
becoming subject to the runs. I always start runs. I'm double drafting running backs or quarterbacks or wide receivers. I'm double drafting whatever position I'm targeting almost every time when I'm on the corners of 110 through 112 or 1-1 through 1-3.
Totally. It's okay to overpay. It's okay. It's about team building.
Well, I have some PTSD from Scott Fishbowl last year, so I went with another tight end because I got 2 or 3 guys got hurt last year. Never had a good tight end. I did. Well, I got the weird Ben thing going on here too. So like I said, I got PTSD from never having a tight end last year. So I got 4 of them, I guess.
All right, so we had Jared Cook come off the board, Tariq Cohen, Jordan Love, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Reagor. I was hoping Amon-Ra St. Brown would make it back to me. I feel like this is where I have to go upside, and I have to find some of these like sneakier picks that offer that dominant type like play. Nelson Aguilar is definitely on the board for me. Kadarius Toney's on the board for me, of course. Denzel Mims could offer tremendous upside. I am a little bit nervous about this pick. I'm not going to lie. I really want to go with like Tevin Coleman here because I think that he could be the starter week 1. All of a sudden, my running back room is phenomenal versus just questionable if he does start, if Kenny Gainwell can do it, if A.J. Dillon, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to go ahead. God, I hated Tevin Coleman for so many years. This is the first year I'm supporting Tevin Coleman. I'm going to take Tevin Coleman.
Okay.
That was tough. That was my toughest pick so far. Well,
Tevin Coleman carried me in a league one year, and I had a thing with him. I finally got rid of him a couple of years ago. It's just, man. Couple years, 3 years in a row, it's just like, yes, Tevin Coleman is my ultimate sleeper. No, he's not.
It's Mike LaFleur. They're going to use running back by committee. Like that's just, it's a given. I think that Tevin Coleman is going to be a smash play. Nope, something's going on with the sound. All right, gotta jump off the stream. Yeah, I hear that. You gotta walk the puppy. Hey, Jordan, I'm getting a little bit of feedback from you.
How about now?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Yep.
Microphone. Yeah, my computer's dying, so.
That's probably exactly what it is.
Yeah. I gotta jump here on this turn anyway. It's baby bedtime for me.
All right, sounds good, man. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, let's see. I'll do these last. I can do these last 2.
I can barely hear you. Your mic is breaking up.
All right.
All right, later.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got booted too somehow.
Yeah, his computer is about to die, so he ended up having to hop off. But he's sitting there at the what is that? The second pick right after Nelson Aguilar went off. I love the Nelson Aguilar pick. That's a great pick. Austin Hooper, that's still a good pick. I know that they're using the committee, and I know that was an auto pick, but Austin Hooper's not gone. He's not. Where are you looking at now coming back to your turn later on? Like, are you looking running back at this point? You have 4 tight ends.
Yeah.
Are you looking at trying to find the
it's funny because I really feel like I've lost my way in the last couple of rounds because I need wide receiver, but I just don't like anything on the board. I considered Jalen Reagor last time around, and that's probably what I should have done instead of Ebron. And now it's just getting even worse. And at running back, we're really at that point where we're just throwing darts, and that's fine. But there's a couple guys, and I definitely need one, so it's going to be running back and probably wide receiver. I just don't see how I can't make it through a season with these 4 wide receivers.
No, absolutely not. And there's still some good wide receivers on the board right now. I'm a little bit nervous because there's one wide receiver that I have in mind that I really want, but I'll take two. If both of those don't make it back to me, then very disappointed because I feel like there's a huge teardrop after that. There is one player that could be in the middle of that tier that I kind of like. There's like two that I really want. So I'm hoping to make it back to me. At this point, you need high upside, guys.
I do, because and that's why I'm saying I think it kind of got away from me where I had such an issue not taking the wide receivers earlier. Then I went safe to make sure I've got some starters, and I've just got no ceiling now at wide receiver. So,
yep, now it's that time to find this high upside, guys. All right, Santos L. Hopper is here or not? At this point, he took Tyrod Taylor, which I thought was interesting. I don't think that was an auto pick. He's getting the backup, I guess, for Deshaun Watson, but that could also be Davis. At least a couple of weeks throughout the season. Even so, I don't think there's a lot of upside with it.
I'm not sure what they're going to do in Houston in general. So it makes me nervous. I do think Tyrod's going to open the season as a starter, but beyond that, who really knows? And do we care?
I don't think we do.
No. Yeah, that's been my point all along, that with the new coach, their offensive line was supposed to be a strength a year or two ago, and it's just gotten progressively worse. It's mediocre now.
Yeah, it's brutal. And the defense, you are going to need to score, but they're not going to have very good field position. They're going to be getting the ball at their 20 or the 30-yard line because that teams are going to score on them. And they're going to have to go the full field. And I don't know that they have the pieces that are going to be able to put it together to be able to move the ball and move the chains on a regular basis. So it's just something as to where, oh man, that whole team just makes me nervous. All right, so Bryan Edwards, it went Cole Beasley, Bryan Edwards, Todd Gurley. I'm up on the clock. Both my guys made it to me. Now I have to decide whether I want to go Denzel Mims or if I'd rather go with Paris Campbell. I feel like I have enough injury risk, and Denzel Mims was not healthy last year either, but at least Denzel Mims doesn't have as significant of an injury history as Paris Campbell has. Paris Campbell's injury history, that's just as questionable as if, Matt Jones plays this year or Deshaun Watson plays this year. That's how questionable his injury history is. I'm going Denzel Mims. He's great at catching the deep ball. We saw Zach Wilson have the highest completion rate ever possibly on passes that went over 20 yards. He's special when it comes to throwing the deep ball. And you know what goes well with this offense and Mike LaFleur? The play action fake, throwing underneath a whole bunch, and then opening up the deep ball. The past 2 years, we've had Jimmy Garoppolo lead the league in completion percentage for balls over 20 yards. That was 2019. In 2020, Nick Mullins led the league in completion percentage for balls over 20 yards. Both Kyle Shanahan's system. Obviously, that's coming over with Michael LaFleur. That's a smash play for me. I think that Denzel Mims is going to have a phenomenal season. He has a ton of upside. Questionable lower side, but at the point, what are we, 15, 16 round? I'll take him every time.
Yeah, I think at this point, 16th round, you're getting the benefit of the fact that people keep talking about how he's been running with the twos in OTAs and how excited everybody is about Elijah Moore. I don't think Denzel Mims is going anywhere, so I think anything that pushes his ADP down is great.
Elijah Moore will play in the slot. Moore will play in the slot. He's going to split time with Jamison Crowder. He's going to get the gadget plays like Brandon Ike saw whenever anybody got hurt. But guess what? This wide receiver corps gets hurt constantly. They have one of the worst wide receiver corps in terms of health I've ever seen. There was a week, I just read an article. There was a week where they had, hold on one second. Let me just type in Berrios. Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios, and Josh Malone as the only three wide receivers to play a snap. Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios, and Josh Malone. They added on Brashad Perriman. Perriman added on last year. Injured the majority of the time, right? Obviously, Denzel Mims couldn't stay healthy, but if he stays healthy this year, you're talking about a home run play. Zach Wilson's an absolute monster at the deep pass. All right.
Well, so I picked up my boy John Brown, who seems to just be lasting more and more. I think it's very possible that he has the target lead at the end of the year.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
possible. Smokey Brown.
And again, sort of the backdoor stack there with Carr. And I'm just going to take another wild swing here at a guy you were just talking about, just to try to keep that wide receiver core with a little bit of upside here. Detroit's defense is so bad that I do think that they're going to be forced into a lot of negative game scripts. And Perriman, he's shown at every stop that he has the chops to get it done if he gets any quarterback play. I'm not sure Goff's that guy, but I'm fine with Perriman in the 17th to see if he's got some upside.
Did Tyrell Williams come off the board yet?
No, I don't believe so. So I went Perriman over Williams.
Okay.
Mhm.
Personally, I like Williams more than I like Perriman. I think that Tyrell Williams spent time with Anthony Lynn over there with the LA Chargers. By the way, if you're still listening, you've been listening the whole time, make sure you guys can subscribe on the YouTube channel. Just hit like on the video. Make sure you guys hit subscribe. We've obviously been going for an hour and 40 minutes now, so it would be appreciated if you all just hit subscribe real quick. But anyways, Tyrell Williams has experience with Anthony Lynn. I think that it's, not a given, but it's likely that he could be the leading receiver if they end up throwing it to the outside. Jared Goff obviously likes the slot position a lot. But, maybe Tyrell Williams can stay healthy this year and he could develop into a Robert Woods type player. Robert Woods didn't break out until late. Tyrell Williams could be doing the same thing. And now Tre'Quan Smith is actually one of my favorite picks of this entire draft in the 17th round. Tre'Quan Smith, who could be the second guy in this offense with Jameis Winston, who, by the way, supported two of the best wide receivers in 2019, now has an opportunity to, throw it deep. Tre'Quan Smith is another version of Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup, could catch fire at any point with Dak Prescott at quarterback. Well, guess what? Tre'Quan Smith could catch fire at any point with Jameis Winston. Plus, Tre'Quan Smith is a better player. He's more agile and he can actually play in the slot. Michael Gallup does not play in the slot. Michael Gallup is strictly downfield. Tre'Quan Smith is an absolute steal at this point, and I almost went with him over Denzel Mims, but I thought that he would actually make it back to me. He did not. I'm not disappointed, though. It happens.
Yeah. Tre'Quan Smith, I don't know why everyone's ignoring him. I understand he's had a chance to step up before now and hasn't really done it except in isolated pockets, but you have no idea what the quarterback shift is going to do for him. And it's very possible they really don't have a lot there. I know there's some guys they like, but they don't have a lot behind him. So that would have been one of those teams where I thought that they would go out and pick somebody up, but they didn't. So Smith is still hanging out there, and really nobody's talking about him.
Well, you talk about teams that, haven't picked anybody up. The Atlanta Falcons haven't picked up another running back.
Mm-hmm.
Javion Hawkins is on the board. Javion Hawkins, he's going to be a satellite back. He's not great, but if something happens to Mike Davis, they're going to go in full on throw mode. And Javion Hawkins could benefit from that. He's not a great pass protector. He's going to be going out 4 passes if they have the opportunity. It gets me a little bit concerned that maybe Atlanta could bring back Todd Gurley, something along those lines. I don't think they want to. I don't think that they have the salary cap to necessarily. I'm going to go with Javion Hawkins, but my biggest fear is that they pick somebody else out at this point in the 17th round. Everybody has their question marks.
Yeah. Well, I looked at Hawkins instead of Perriman. But I'm still trying to make up for my early fade of the wide receiver spot.
I feel like now I'm going so running back health heavy. Like this isn't normally how I draft. I've taken a running back every other round for the past 4, 5, 6 rounds, 7 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 9 rounds. Sorry, it's crazy. I like my team though. I do like my team. I was a little bit nervous at first, but I like my team.
Well, you recovered at the quarterback spot nicely. So, and if Watson plays, that's a massive boost.
The Watson thing could end up him finishing as a top 10 quarterback would end up winning me this league. Now I'm just trying to plug the holes to keep myself from bleeding out, essentially. So we saw Dawson Knox, Salvon Ahmed, who actually almost took. I was very close to taking Salvon. Very close to taking Salvon Ahmed. We had Gio Bernard, Sonny Michel, Wow, Sonny Michel super late. Guessing they think that he's gonna.
Yeah, I'm more of a Malcolm Brown guy than I am an Ahmed guy. Um, I don't dislike the player, but I think that they're going to give Malcolm Brown more opportunities than people maybe believe.
What about Jared Dokes, bro?
I know everybody's excited about him. I don't know a lot about him. I only know what people tell me about him. I'm not a high level scout that's for sure. I can just see Brown being a thorn in anybody's side who has that job.
All right, so God, am I gonna do it again? I can't do it again. I can wait on this one. I can wait on the guy that I saw because if I go this route, like that's gonna be too many running backs, and then I'm gonna end up having to drop half of them because they're not gonna get a chance until 6 weeks of the season. So I'm gonna go here with Quintez Cephas. Should see a decent amount of targets. Hopefully, he can earn a starting role. He did last year, and then he didn't do well with it, so they faded him out. I like Quintez Cephas. I don't love him, but at the same time, he could end up taking one of the outside roles. You know, Brashad Perriman can't stay healthy. Tyrell Williams can't stay healthy. Quintez Cephas could end up being the wide receiver 1 for the Detroit Lions outside of Hawkinson and Swift, possibly Amon-Ra St. Brown. All right, following me, we had Chris Herndon, Elijah Mitchell, AJ Green. I like the Elijah Mitchell pick right here. I like it more than the Darrington Evans, who Papa Bear took right before Elijah Mitchell. Darrington Evans is definitely like more of a handcuff, and that wasn't even taken by him. So you pretty much have another team's handcuff, which I like, especially for best ball purposes, but that's not best ball. Anyways, Elijah Mitchell actually does have a chance to play the role that they wanted Jerick McKinnon to play, but Jerick McKinnon couldn't stay healthy. They want a pass catching back there, and they want to run options RPOs, and they want a guy who can get into space and succeed into space. We've seen this time and time again with the San Francisco 49ers offense. They want Brandon Ayuk. They want Deebo Samuel. They want George Kittle. They want players who can make plays in space. Elijah Mitchell is one of them out of the backfield. All right, so you're up next. Who are you keeping an eye on?
Well, I think I'm going to put my money where my mouth is on Malcolm Brown, just because at this point, I'm not seeing a whole lot left that I'm that excited about. I do think that in this format, oddly enough, it does pay to grab a nice kicker, as weird as that sounds.
No, I mean, we could take a kicker, and it could be good.
I'm not there yet, but yeah, I'm going to hit Brown here and see what I can find on the turn. And again, not exciting, but I don't know why they wouldn't give Brown a chance to earn a few touches. Gaskin, I like Gaskin as a player, I really do. And I was really on him early in the offseason, but at this point, I'm starting to cool. I'm starting to wonder what they think about him with the moves they've made.
I mean, I don't know if they've made many. I mean,
well, just Dokes and Brown and
Dokes was a 7th round pick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, that's a throwaway pick.
I agree.
And honest, sitting there and looking at it, like Jordan Howard last year, I'm pulling it up because I want to say it was like 17 carries for 13 yards.
Gosh, and you know what? Everybody listening, take my Malcolm Brown advice with a grain of salt, because I was drafting Jordan Howard late last year as well.
Jordan Howard only comes up as an MMA fighter right now. I think he had 17 carries for 13 yards, but he also had like 4 touchdowns or something like that.
73 touchdowns. Yeah,
it was insane. So he actually did you right in the first like couple weeks or whatever, but they moved away from after they realized that he could only carry the ball inside the 5, not inside the 10.
Yeah, that was one of the weirder storylines that I just missed wildly on, though. But when I turned around on the turn there and grabbed Jacoby Myers, I think he's the forgotten man right now, and in New England. So I think Cam liked him. Cam fell off a cliff when he got COVID, so I'm hoping for a resurgence in his second year in the system, and I think Jacoby could benefit from that.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers is actually a very hot topic right now. He's so hot. Actually, he's been getting a lot of camp hype. They're saying that he could end up being the top wide receiver in the offense and retain his slot role. So Iowa in the NFL actually brought up that Gaskin was a 7th rounder as well, but Gaskin's actually proved that he could handle, very low amount of workload, but he could still be hyper efficient. I still like Jared Doak, so don't get me wrong. I actually have him rostered in a lot of different leagues, but I think they're going to give Malcolm Brown, the guy that they paid, the first crack at it. And if he succeeds, which we know that he can, because he was the goal line back when Todd Gurley was having bad knees over there for LA. Like, I mean, he was still melting faces. So I honestly think that Gaskin is a smart pick at this point. I mean, I'm sorry that Malcolm Brown was still a smart pick.
This late, I mean, what are you really losing in the 18th?
Well, we still have 3.5 more rounds to go. Let's see if we can speed this up for anybody that's listening, because at this point, we're not going to be talking about a lot of people who people actually know, and we're losing followers or listeners by the second. So,
well,
if you're,
and I hate to do this to you, but the wife is getting ready for dinner, and I don't think I should push her off any further.
No, go ahead.
Almost 10 Eastern.
Woo, no, that's crazy. Yeah, go ahead. Get out of here. I'll do my last 2 picks, and then I'll hop out as well. But yeah, go ahead and let everybody know where to find you real quick while I look at the draft.
Yeah,
sheet.
Thanks a lot. It's been nice, quote unquote, meeting you, and hopefully we can grab a beer in Canton. I will definitely be there. I'm in the Kings Classic, so I can't wait for
sick.
Yeah. Well, I just got lucky with Football Guys. They asked me because I live in Ohio, so it's only about a little over 3-hour drive to get up there, and they needed a representative and sort of lucked into it. So
I love those guys, man. They're awesome.
Yeah, they are. They're a lot of good dudes. Joe sort of plucked me out of obscurity, and owe him a lot for that. But yeah, that's where you can find my writing over at Football Guys. I just finished up my 7-part Mastering the Auction Draft series over there, and we're doing a lot of collaboration pieces on undervalued, overvalued players that you can find, and also on Twitter at DrewFBG Auctions. And I got a new podcast out called The Auction Brief. So check all that stuff out. And I really appreciate you having me on. It was really nice to meet you, man.
That's awesome, man. I was stoked to meet you too. Thank you for coming on. I know it was last minute and you had some stuff to take care of. So I appreciate you making time.
Yeah, anytime, man. Hit me up. I'm always willing to come on and talk.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take it easy, bud.
All right. So let's go ahead and close out this live feed at least. I know we have a couple rounds left. Appreciate you guys for sticking with us. Make sure you guys go to YouTube, youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Make sure you hit subscribe. It means a lot. Every additional listener really counts. As soon as we get to 1,000, it completely changes the game for us. So we're sitting up there at 400 right now or so. Anyways, we're sitting there and we're looking at a kicker run. So please take note that the kicker run starts in the very late rounds, probably around like 17, 18. If you like your kickers, make sure you get them in beforehand. Iowa and the NFL, no worries, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in for sure. It's been fun. I love doing these mock drafts. If you guys ever want to do one again, make sure y'all hit me up and let me know. Love to be a part of one and host this again. So I'm sitting there. I have 3 quarterbacks. I have 6 running backs. I have 6 wide receivers, 1 tight end. Is that right? Oh, I let the tight end slip. Okay, so I need to make a mental note of not to make the tight end slip. I think I was waiting for 1 tight end, and that's actually where I'll finish out at then if he's still available. Let me check it out. Yes, the tight end that I still wanted is here. I actually have 2 tight ends on my list. I'll go ahead and say it, although I was still in the chat. I'm looking at Harrison Bryant, who could end up having a breakout campaign along with Austin Hooper over there for the Cleveland Browns in 2020. And then Brevin Jordan, his 5th-round pick for the Texans. I think that he has a lot of upside. I know it's very limited, but I compared him to Delaney Walker. Just go watch his film. They're almost identical when it comes to their play types and their style. They get hurt just as often as well. So, yeah, go check out Brevin Jordan. Go check out his film. Anyways, if you guys want to go check out all my content, go to fantasyintervention.com. I just finished writing a rookie article on Zach Wilson. I have rookie articles on Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Trevor Lawrence. Go check those out over there at fantasyintervention.com. You guys are on the YouTube page. And then, of course, Go follow me at FF_intervention. Appreciate you guys. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for letting me intervene with your fantasy football life.